I've made tens of millions of dollars on the internet. I live on the beach in Puerto Rico. I've got 2 beautiful kids and a life that most people would draw on a vision board. It doesn't feel real to me sometimes, but I'm not telling you any of that to flex. I'm telling you that so this next sentence makes sense. My biggest breakthrough showed up when I stopped forcing outcomes and let them come to me. I've had seasons in my life where I've worked like an absolute psychopath and chased big numbers. When I reflect on my life and career, it's strange to say that those are often the seasons that I've walked away with nothing or at least close to it. The biggest wins of my life didn't come when I was white-knuckling my goals. They didn't come when I was obsessively refreshing dashboards and trying to outsmart God. Every time I've squeezed too tight, I've lost. Every time I've chilled, locked in on the work, and let life come to me, the craziest blessings have fallen in my lap. So this video is about the law of detachment, but not in some fluffy Pinterest way. I'm gonna show you how forcing almost ruined my second act, and how letting go put me back on path, and how you can want everything without strangling the very thing that you're trying to chase. We need to start here with the story of when I was guided versus when I was Talib cucked. And that sounds funny, but it'll make sense here in a second. When I was building my first company, I felt tapped into something bigger the whole time. You can call it God, you can call it source, call it whatever makes you comfortable, but it felt guided on a material level. The PO we needed would land at the last second, the hire we prayed for would DM out of nowhere, and the sales goals we wrote on the whiteboard would hit like the day before the last month, every single month on this meteoric rise. One step after another through any sort of fire. But underneath all of it, there was just this quiet knowing. I know where this is going. I know this story ends different for me. And listen, I wasn't calm because the numbers were easy. I was calm because my spirit was like, yeah, this is it. You're on the right path. Keep going, one foot in front of the other. We sold that company. It was life-changing money for me, life-changing money for some of my guys. I did exactly what I knew it would do. And then I decided to graduate and get smart after the exit. I got heavy into business philosophy, so private equity, high finance, Nassim Nicholas Taleb, all the nerd. Taleb has this idea that we're fooled by randomness. We love to put poetic stories on things that are really just luck. Independent events colliding, and there's no deeper meaning, it's just math. So from 2019 to 2021, I lived like that. I was Mr. Big Brain. Everything was randomness, variance, risk curves, and real talk, I got Taleb cucked. I had businesses fail, ventures stall. I went from that guided feeling to this cold analytical reality where I felt like I was just buying lottery tickets but with better spreadsheets. And you can feel the difference in your body. You know, guided feels like, this is mine. I don't know how yet, but it's mine. The Taleb version is, I hope I get lucky before the music stops if I just keep playing the probabilities properly. And then life hit me with what I'd like to call a God event. I had melanoma removed from behind my ear, and if a weird series of events hadn't lined up perfectly, I probably wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now. Be gone. That shook me. That brought me back to source. Since then, my whole operating system changed. I still respect randomness, but now I produce luck by walking in the direction that God keeps illuminating for me. And that's the tension that this whole video lives in, and I want you to navigate. You respect uncertainty, you build systems, you work insanely hard, but you stop trying to bully reality into a specific outcome on your little timeline. That's the law of detachment. So I want you to understand what this law actually is, because most people hear detachment and they think, oh, I should just stop caring. Just lay on the couch and trust the universe. And that's not detachment, that is delusion, family. Detachment isn't caring less, it's about caring correctly. For me, the law of detachment is very simple. You obsess over the input and you release the death grip on the output. You move like it's already yours, you take disrespectful levels of action, you stop trying to micromanage the exact way it shows up. You let God cook the route, you just keep walking. Attachment is very much like, it has to be this business model, it has to be this girl, it has to be this launch date, this house, this exact script. Detachment is, this is who I am. This is the energy I'm bringing. This is how I'm showing up. This is the work that I'm committed to. However the universe is gonna pay me back, I am open. And you have to understand the tragic irony with all of this. The less I grip, the more I attract. The less I chase, the more I choose. When I've had my tightest grip, I've been the brokest mentally. When I've been the calmest, things move like they're chasing me. I'm some real spiritual girl here, but like, you know, no bullshit. So let me explain how God will just rip the controller out of your hand. Let me tell you about last year. My wife and I were apart. Inside, it felt like everything was sideways. I was in another relationship trying to make it work. On paper, it should have worked. But if I'm being honest, the whole thing felt completely forced. You ever try to convince yourself something is right because you're scared of being alone? That was me. But at the exact time, I could feel another path opening up for me. Music. DJing and production has always been a true passion, like since I was a little kid. And on paper, this looked insane. I'm a grown man with kids, businesses, a whole life. And yet I'm hearing this quiet voice going, you are supposed supposed to be in this field now. You're supposed to pursue music. I didn't know how it was gonna work. I didn't have the plan, but I could feel that pull. So here I am, trying to juggle these three things. A relationship that only moved if I forced it, a business I was building that my heart wasn't in, and a calling towards music that felt like destiny but made no logical sense. And that's what attachment looks like in real time. You're clinging to what's safe, forcing what's convenient, and ignoring what your soul actually wants. But in a span of a few weeks, it all came to a head. The business I was trying to force imploded. Tens of millions gone. The girl disrespected me on a level that was actually insane. A lot of people go into fix mode. They beg for closure, try to catch a falling knife with the business. That's ego. But a real man, when life makes things obvious, detach completely. So I did. I detached from the relationship, I detached from the business, I detached from the fantasy that these things were gonna save me. Not on some petty, performative, I don't care energy. This was on some real, I'm not gonna fight God over what he's clearly removing. Violently removing, if you will. And that's when the plot changed. There was this mutual friend I had on Instagram, Blondish, one of the top 5 DJs in the world. Back when I was in that relationship, I remember bringing up, yeah, I might go link with Blondish when I'm in Miami. And the girl laughed and called her orangish. Like it was so funny. It was a strange, mocking, jealous projection. Same girl told me she hated Club Space. If you know music, that is insane. Club Space is literally the mecca in the States for real music. It's church in my world. So those were the two massive tells. Disrespect for someone I knew that was aligned with my future, Blondish, and disrespect for the exact environment my spirit wanted to be in. That's what attachment does. It keeps you loyal to rooms that are blocking your blessings. The second I fully walked away from that situation, doors bust open. I trusted the process. I followed the music. I stopped justifying trying to stay small. Blondish didn't just end up being like a casual industry link. She became one of my best friends, a real collaborator and like honestly family at this point. And the moves I've been able to make since then, looking back, they don't even make logical sense. Like the rooms I've been in, some of the stages that are lining up, the artists I'm talking to, and just the sheer velocity of it all. If you map this out as like a career strategy, shit would look impossible. The only way any of this makes sense is through the lens of destiny. All the Talib stuff. And none of this came from me brute forcing any sort of relationship. None of that came from me clinging to a business my heart had already left. It came from detaching from fake stability and walking towards a life that was already trying to meet me. That's the part nobody tells you about the law of detachment. Sometimes God won't bless the new room until you finally walk out of the old ones and close the door fully. I didn't manifest my way into this music chapter. I stopped fighting the current. The girl who mocked the path, gone. The business that didn't fit my soul, gone. The doors that were meant for me, wide f***ing open. Detachment isn't theoretical to me. I've watched it reroute my life in real time when I stopped forcing what was clearly dying and started honoring what was already being born. So let me tell you how to actually practice this law. And this isn't tactical, I steer away from the woo-woo stuff. Let's get out of the clouds. The most important thing for you to do is separate the goal from the schedule. So you can write the goal once and then write the schedule that makes the goal inevitable, meaning the day-to-day stuff. Like if the goal is to blow Rob the Bank up as an artist and architect, the schedule is X amount of long-form videos per week, X amount of shorts, these many days in the studio, putting together the general game plan and framework and then sticking to that. You can't obsess about the goal at that point. You have to show up and do the work religiously. So the schedule becomes the religion. Attachment is checking the scoreboard all game. Detachment is running the plays until the final buzzer, because you never know. More times than not, I'd say 99 out of 100 times, it is a buzzer beater that gets the job done. You have got to stop asking yourself, is it working yet? And start asking yourself, did I show up how I said I would? Because the truth is most people don't show up the way they know they need to. In the universe, it responds to consistency, not begging, not hopes and prayers. Step 2 here is kill the non-critical inputs. This is where one of my old lines comes from that popped off. My superpower has become not giving a f*** about information that is non-critical to my purpose. Repeat that back to me. When I'm in attachment, the place to not be, I'm taking in everything, every opinion, every tweet, every rumor, every what could go wrong. When I'm detached, I'm ruthless. Phone in the other room, social media barely viewed. Information has to earn its way into my brain. It has to be critical to my purpose. Because the truth is, you can't detach from outcomes if you're still addicted to all of the noise. I don't think any of you really have an anxiety problem. You have an input problem. You're hooked on chaos. You're mistaking stimulation for being informed. Detach from the noise, attach to the signal, because the signal's in you. It's right here. And if I'm being real, a lot of people attach to noise because they're scared of the future. That cheap dopamine, the cheap chaos, the cheap something to talk about. It is fear-based. And I want to tell you, it is okay to be scared. It's part of the game. It's important. But I want you to bring the fear with you. Detachment does not mean you stop feeling fear. No, it's still there. I still get anxious before big moves. I've talked about this in other videos, but the difference is that now I don't negotiate with it. I don't sit there playing mental ping pong with every what if. I literally talk to myself like this. This is my internal input. Cool, you're scared. Put that fear in the passenger seat and we're still gonna go for a drive. Your nervous system learns by experience. Every time you move through fear, your body logs the data. We did that thing. We can do it again. We didn't die. And that's truly how detachment is built. It's reps. It's not mantras. It's not fake positivity. It is nothing short of reps. You have to trade control for conversation. When I was on that to leave timeline, I tried to control everything with my brain. Now I treat my life much more like a conversation. I move towards what feels alive. I pay attention to what keeps opening up. I listen when doors slam shut instead of trying to kick them down. And you have to distinguish here. You don't quit at the first challenge, but detachment does mean that you stop worshiping the specific route. Bezos said,
be stubborn on the vision and flexible on the details.
You can be very fixated on the vision, but flexible about how you get there. So like sometimes God's like, yeah, this is your thing, but wrong vehicle. You're gonna continue to make missteps, it's okay. If you're overly attached, you'll miss that. You'll die on a hill that was supposed to be a rest stop. If you're detached, you can pivot without losing your identity. So let's talk about detachment and relationship, status, and identity. Detachment isn't just money and business, it's how you move around people too. If you really start living on purpose, you're gonna look crazy to people who settled. When you're deeply detached from external validation, the storyline is gonna flip and you have to be okay with that. You'll be labeled in your villain arc. People will say you changed. Old friends will try to drag you back into the box that they're comfortable with. Half the time, it's not even malicious. They just can't handle the mirror that you're starting to become. It's brutal. When they can't control you anymore, they're gonna start trying to control narratives about you. And I've had people do this with me. They can't control my decisions, so they started painting me as a bad guy. And it's just something that you have got to ruthlessly ignore. The old me would have fought that. The detached me is like, keep the storylines, I'll keep the life. Love who you were to them, bless what they did for you, then keep walking. You don't owe your old self a lifetime contract. You owe your future self a real shot. So let me leave you with something you can literally steal and run with here. Step 1, write the vision once. Get brutally clear. What do you want to build? What life do you want to see when you close your eyes? Who are you in that movie? And then write it down, pray on it, sit with it, meditate. Step 2, build the boring system that would make the end result inevitable. Reverse engineer here. What content cadence would make this likely? What skills do you need? What hours can you realistically put in? So think about it from my perspective. So for me here, just to give you a practical example, I'm pursuing this music thing full force. I still create content. I'm still active on social media. I still have business deals. So I have to work all of these different things into a tangible, realistic schedule. I already know with my current life, I won't be a touring DJ. And I keep needing to develop my skills, produce new music. Like all of these things have to go in. So I have to sit down and consciously think about all of that. And then you create systems around it and you see what's realistic and then you let it go. Step 3, I talk about this a lot. Ruthlessly cut all non-critical inputs. You have to ask yourself, does this account, this chat, this podcast make me more dangerous or more distracted? If it's not feeding your calling, cut it. You don't necessarily have to go full monk mode, but the truth is when you're pursuing something and you want to reach a true goal, something meaningful, something of substance, it's going to require a full schedule. It's going to require a lot of work. You think like everyone knows about Kobe. I talk about Kobe all the time. His days were packed with being the absolute best and getting to the top of the pinnacle. And he made it happen. Step 4, do scary reps on purpose. That means put yourself out there. For me, that was like my second show at Floyd in Miami. Just getting right into the mix and full sending it. That's where actual growth comes from. It can be something like posting a piece of content that people will judge, making a call that you know you'll dread, launch the thing that's been in your note apps for 8 months. You'll feel the fear before, but you'll feel power after, and you have to get in the habit of stepping out of your comfort zone and like doing the actual things and remaining detached on the outcome. Step 5, reflect on data, not drama. Every week, I do this most Sundays, I zoom out and I say what moved the needle, what was working, what was not. You can adjust the system, it's okay. You're not gonna adjust your self-worth, you're not gonna adjust who you are. You're gonna just look at it. And let me just leave you with this. This is what I've been trying to show to you guys in real time. I want it for your life as well. The life you're trying to force is probably way smaller than the life that's waiting for you once you finally let go. Be bold, walk with faith. The story's gonna surprise you.